Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the Tried and Tested podcast. I am your host, Tracey, and if you do not already know, this is a love, relationship, dating, everything romance podcast where we talk about all the things that occur in our dating life in this day and age. And today I have my special guest, my boo Jillian. Say hey, Jillian.
Hey, everyone.
All right, so thank you so much for joining us today, and we're just going to get right into the topic. And so today, our topic is black men that don't date black women. So I don't know if you have experienced this before, Jillian. I don't know if you have noticed this before, but I've seen a trend going on just throughout life where you see, actually, I'm not going to say black men that don't date black women. I'm going to say successful black men that don't date black women. Have you seen that at all or no?
I have seen it with the successful and unsuccessful black men who choose not to or opt out of dating black women. Yes, I have.
Okay. So, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, how do you feel about it? What do you think of it?
I mean, I've had this discussion with other black women before, and I try to loop black men in as well because just to hear their stance on it or their thought process behind it. Me personally, I think it stems from like a place which I've always thought of like self-hate. I just stand by that. But apparently, speaking to other black men, they say, in fact, that is wrong. So I've seen it. Do I agree with it? No. But apparently, they date who they like or who they're attracted to. And if it just so happens to be a white woman, they say, that's what they're interested in at the time, and that's what they're interested in.
Okay. No, I definitely agree. And I'm actually curious to find out more about what the men said, but we'll definitely get into that. So, I mean, I feel like this is something that I'm seeing that's more and more popular. However, I do see it from two different angles because I've heard men say like, oh, in high school or in college, like black women didn't pay me any mind. They weren't looking at me. They weren't checking for me. And, Becky was the one, she was full of me and she gave me attention. And that's why they prefer white women. And this is what I've heard. But then I also feel like, in my opinion, I feel like sometimes it's when they get on, when they start making money, when they start doing better for themselves, somehow, some way, I see that shift happening. So, what do you think about that?
I mean, I definitely see it for some black men. I think it is a status symbol. It's like a symbol of freedom. I heard that before on actually the Breakfast Club with Umar Johnson. He didn't say that your spouse is a status of freedom, but what he was explaining was that, black people, when they get money, the first thing they do is they get a nice car, they get a BMW, they get nice clothes, they get jewelry, and all of that is not true freedom, but those are symbols of freedom. And I'm like, whoa. I was like, that's kind of profound because even with the choices people make in dating, like having a woman who is non-black, who is other, who is Latina, who is white, that for them, for some men, can be a status of freedom. Like I have a BMW, I have a house, I have a car, and I got a white woman, so I have everything a white man has, right? So I think that can too play like a role in their choice. And of course, brainwashing by American media and the history of slavery in the U.S., I think, all played a part in that.
Wow, that's definitely interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say what do you think there's an issue with men that do this, but I guess the example that you gave, it makes sense. So you feel like some people, because we can't say everybody, but like some people are doing it as a means to show that they are, I guess, up there with, I guess, their white counterparts. Is that what it is? Like they have everything that. Okay, that's interesting. I never really thought about it like that. Okay.
And it might, and it might not be intentional, but it's like that kind of brainwashing, that kind of programming that we have, it's subconscious, They're not going out like, oh, I'm going to find a white woman so I can be on par with my white coworkers, but it's like that subconscious. It's like what you you allow into your subconscious, definitely, if you're not aware of it, it definitely, you know, has control over you. It has power. So, you know, I think that is definitely a reason. One, because, you know, like you said before, it's many reasons, right? But that is also another reason that we see these black men with women of other races.
Yeah, and like I said, for some reason in my mind, I'm really thinking about like the successful ones, because I feel like if you're not really successful, I don't think. I mean, let me just stop. Stop. So have you ever looked at it as a form of control? Like, and like, you know, some men may look at it like black women are too demanding, they're too disrespectful, they're too, like, you think it's a form of control where I can control a white woman more than I can, especially, like I said, if we're talking about successful black men. Oh, I've made it this far, I don't need to deal with, you know, Shaniqua and, you know, and Kiki, you know, now, like, do you think that that's something that also comes into play?
I do. I can, right? Because black women, like, they have all of these stereotypes. We have all of these stereotypes surrounding us, right? Like disrespectful, masculine energy, you know, whatever, combative, you know, have an attitude. And these are stereotypes, right? Doesn't mean that all black women are like that. So I think using that is kind of an excuse for them, for less masculine black men who, ooh, child, you got me on.
I want to hear this, please. I want to hear.
I think it comes from, I think men who say that are men who are not masculine men. And we could talk about that at another time. But what I mean by that is, like, you are looking for, and that's another option. Like, you can be looking for a woman, if you're not a masculine man, you are looking for someone that you can control or that you can have power over. Black women are strong. Black women are resilient. Black women are intelligent. Black women are confident. So maybe you would have trouble, if you're not a masculine man, you would have trouble dealing with a woman who is all of those things. So maybe dating a white woman is a better option for you. I mean, we don't want to talk about it, but it is what it is. I mean, but like I said, men who are not masculine, and that's another topic.
Okay. So basically, if a man feels like he has made all the money, or he's making good enough money, and he wants to date a white woman, then he's probably not as masculine. That's what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, I've never heard that either. I'm like, girl, we learned it today. Okay, all right. So I've also heard, black men say, like, black women are gold diggers, right? And so here was what came to mind when I heard that, because I'm like, okay, well, if you think black women are gold diggers, do you feel like a black woman should date you while you're broke and kind of stay with you while you down and out? And then when you get on, she can't get on with you. She has to stay where she was, trying to pull you up, and now you can go on and live your best life. So what do you think about that?
Well, I just want to say one thing before I go on. Like, first of all, black women are, when it comes to owning businesses, when it comes to college educations and post-bachelor's degrees, black women have the highest number of bachelor's degrees and master's degrees, and they're business owners. So black women are making a lot of money. So let's be clear about that. Like, black women are making their own money, right? So I don't know, and even in my own friend circle, I don't know of any women that are depending on men to fund them, to finance them, to take them out to eat, to buy them clothes, to pay their rent. I actually just had a conversation with, so that basically what I'm saying is that gold digger, that's another stereotype we have surrounding us. It's not true for everybody, and it's probably not true for the majority of black women. Like, I was having a discussion with my roommate just last week, and she was saying, you know, she wants a man who was financially on par with her, making the same or more than she's making. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? And I said the whole thing, like, and my thing was, you know what, there's nothing wrong with that. And I was like, society does not expect white women to deal with men who don't have any money, who don't have a place to stay, who don't have two nickels to rub together. But Black women should, like you said, we should stay with men who are down and out and broke and depressed and broken and don't have ambition, because we should have men like that. Why?
Yeah,
does that make somebody a gold digger?
No, I mean, I definitely agree. And, like, it's kind of surprising, like, when I heard that. Like I said, I literally asked, like, random people, like, different questions. And I feel like I understand the term gold digger was created for, I guess, men who thought they had a little bit of money and women who were trying to get their money. Now, don't get me wrong. There are women out here whose sole purpose in life is just to use a man for money because they don't have any.
Right.
And, I mean, that's just, that's specific to, whoever they are. Then, and from my point of view, I feel like when I think of gold digger, I think of a man. Because I think that they are, especially in this day and age, there are so many men right now who have their hand out, okay? So before I even get to that, I want to go back to a comment that you made as far as women trying to date men who are their equal. And I promise you, I don't know how everyone else's life is, but it's very rare. And, I mean, I haven't been out in, like, almost 2 years. So life is a little different for me nowadays. But it's very rare for me to meet a man who also has a one-bedroom apartment like I do, which I think is very basic, and who has a car and who has a full-time job, salary, benefits. It's very rare that I've come across people like that are actually single. You know what I mean? Like, that blows my mind, because I'm like, okay, if I'm dating, like, am I supposed to meet someone who has what I have or more? I'm not really seeing that. You know what I mean? And so I feel like, no, I don't think black women should settle. That's first things first. But as far as gold diggers, I feel like I see men as gold diggers, because a lot of times a guy will talk to you and he'll try to find out, like, what you do for work, and of course sometimes if you have a better job than him. I remember this man told me once, he's like, oh, you should be taking me to dinner. And he was very serious.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like, that's embarrassing, like, because of where somebody works at. And so I've noticed, especially the stories I told you probably of late, like, a lot of times it's like the men are looking for something. Like, they're looking, if she can't give me something, then, I don't want to talk to her. And I'm not talking about just sex, but people, they want to split dates. They want to go half and half on a date, which I think is wrong. And if you've heard other podcast episodes, you would know how I feel. They don't have a car, so they want you to pick them up or take them out. Like, it's, a very strange thing. So, like I said, when I hear gold diggers now, especially with the women I hang around, I feel like the men are the ones who are now becoming gold diggers.
I agree. But again, these are some non-masculine men, and I have this conversation quite often, not too often, but I have the conversation of, like, I was reading something online, and this woman, she's like, she has a YouTube page and everything, and she's like, men, they're supposed to do this and do that. But I'm like, wait, men these days are not doing that. But the key word was masculine men. And that, like, phrase, is the term masculine is really important, because it separates boys from men. Like, a masculine man is not going to let a woman pay for a date or tell a woman she should be taking me out. Like, a masculine man is not going to expect women to chase them around. A masculine man is not going to let a woman pay his rent or live with her rent-free and not feel any type of guilt or, like, feel emasculated behind it. But, honey, it's a new type of man. These men are not like old school men. They're not. Like, they're really not. They're not like old school men at all. Like, they don't have the mindset. They just don't move. They don't move. They don't operate with the same, like, code of conduct. Like, they have no code of conduct, some of them. So it's just, yeah, I mean, I noticed that too with these men wanting you to, well, not me, honey, but wanting you to, like, pay for their meals and take them out and buy them stuff and borrow money and just take, ride you like a roller coaster. And then when they're done with you, they're done. Will ride you like a roller coaster. When they're bored, when the ride is over, they get off and go to the next ride.
No, that is true. So wait, for our listeners, though, can you give your definition of what you think a masculine man is? Like, what do you feel like is a masculine man, in your opinion?
A masculine man is a man who can take the lead. A masculine man is a man who's assertive. A masculine man is a man who's transparent. A masculine man is a man who knows how to communicate. A masculine man is one who's mature. And you don't have to be all these things, but working towards, like a masculine man is someone who's working towards or working to build themselves up, who's aware of, like, their weaknesses and working on those things, right? Because like, that's like a man who operates with a code, who has, like, a moral compass, like, not just doing anything and living for the instant gratification, but, someone who encompasses all of those things, well, at least that I think a man should be. And someone who's not asking me for money.
Yes. No, it's like, I'm telling you, okay, so do you think that there is a shortage of masculine men because there's a shortage of fathers in homes in some cases? Or what do you think they learn this behavior from with their hand out, like begging?
It has to be that maybe it's a shortage of fathers. I don't know, but I think it's the way they were raised. So it could be being raised by women, having a lot of feminine energy. But yeah, they do lack masculine energy. So it could be being raised by women. I think it's also generational. This generation is way different. Even guys who are 30, 35, like, they're way different than our parents at 30 and 35. Like the men in our, moms and fathers' generations, they are completely different. And it's society too, right? Because expectations change, right? Roles change. So I think that has to do with how our society is. The expectations for men and women are kind of blurred to me.
No, I definitely agree. Like I said, I'm just thinking about the people that I've met over the course of the year. So like I said, there are some men who are, men's men who they know what their role is. They know how to treat their women. They know, like, everyone knows their place to play. But then, like I said, there's definitely a shortage of men who actually are not seeking help, looking for a place to live. You're looking for a car to drive, looking for money. Like, so I definitely agree. Wow, that is really something that's very interesting to me. And then, so what do you think that, how do I say, like, okay, how do you feel like you would go about finding a man like that?
Girl, I have no idea, because if I did, I would have one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, like, I'm just like, I wonder, like, how. What is the formula? Wow.
Think what we want, I think whatever you want as an individual, it exists, right? These things are not, like, out of the ordinary, or they might be out of the ordinary, but they're not, like, non-existent, right? The things that we seek in partners are not, they're out there. People have these characteristics. But I couldn't even tell you. Just continue to work on myself and build myself up so I could attract a man for me, and work on my flaws and be conscious and be aware and, be aware of myself and how I operate in the world, and, try to attract the right man to me.
Or dip yourself in white powder and see if that works, because but I don't know. No, but that's
Hello?
Men to talk about this topic, you know what I mean? Because they would be the best people who, men who dated black women and men who date white women. But that's definitely something that interests me, because I always wonder, like, what is it that you feel, like I said, and of course, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with white women. They are people as well, but I just always found that to be interesting when I would see, like, handsome, successful black men, and they just don't want to pay attention to black women at all,
Right.
So that's kind of like where this all came from. But Jillian Boo, I want to thank you so much for, like, taking the time out today to discuss this topic and really give me, like, your honest thoughts and opinions when it comes to this. And so do you have any final words to say, any final advice or information you want to give before we end this episode?
Yes, what I want to say to all your listeners is, remember, you choose who you love, okay? And you can choose to love black. And with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful evening and you have enjoyed my guest appearance.
Oh, yes, honey. I really, really, really have. And I just thank you so much. So also, please give them your Instagram if anyone wants to get in contact with you.
Sure. My Instagram is at JillyBaby718. JILLYBABY718.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you so much. And to all the listeners, I want to thank you guys for taking the time out to listen to the Tried and Tested podcast. Once again, I am your host, Tracey. And if you want to reach me, you can find me on Instagram actually, I'll put it in the description box because, yeah. But anyway, thank you so much. And until next time, have a good one.